Welcome to Unfiltered Awareness, a raw and authentic exploration that delves into the realms of consciousness, self awareness, and transformation. Co hosted by Celia Antonio and Lucy Al. Join us as we embark on thought provoking conversation that challenge the norms and expand our understanding. Each episode is an edited conversation where we journey into these topics. We're so grateful you're here. Now let's dive in. The spider is out, so we're all good. So where we were talking about?
Um, I remember we were talking about how some people in these spaces, they'll have their programs where they give you just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you that you're in charge of your reality, which could be empowering in a sense, but they do it in such a harsh way that they do stuff that's not trauma informed. Like
Mm-hmm.
with that lady.
Yeah,
I
like
just ran
it's
up the
just
stairs, I'm like out of breath.
take a minute, don't worry, we'll all go. I like what you shared about that and like the little teensy beatsy and like it is because in a way, if we follow the empowerment journey, it's just like we give you a little bit so you come back for a little bit more and so if of course you have some at some level you have a client for life, and that's kind of what you lots of like motivationals and self-help people have as like the big backlash they have about them is like creating kind of I'm going to just use a strong word like zombie people, like they're not even thinking, it just like this is the next step, I need this and this is the next step, instead of like it's just the run forward, the I need to get more information, I need to get fed more, instead of like I'm actually already fed, I have all the information within, and I actually need to sit with them because they usually have a very very short cycle, don't let people to integrate. And this is kind of what my journey of empowerment was like: feed, like eat so much, and at some point you're like bloated, you're too much to and like the whole body shut down, and then something happened, and you're like, it cannot be the way, that
Yeah,
cannot be the way,
yeah.
you know.
And I think
It's
it's
just
really eye-opening when you start to do your own findings on things. Or if you even know, like when I was in this person's space, I was in a program that was how to create a course. It was a course on how to create a course.
of course
And
they were it's the course that make the most money
yeah, I
from
know, right?
courses.
Yeah. Luckily, though, I was already at a point where, like, I've kind of always been of someone that likes to research and learn from all different parts. So I didn't follow this one thing that I saw so many people following where I'm just like, oh man, this is how they're getting people and really making money. Is that they shared a course platform that they have that's $45 a month to
That's another
share.
guy then.
And then you're paying them $45 a month forever. And they're
Yeah,
making a killing on that. And the reason
they
why
actually
I didn't
lost
do that,
200,000 people the last few every year for the last 3 years.
really?
Customers, yeah,
Oh,
it's going
wow.
down for
Yeah,
odd
there's
things.
definitely an
Mm,
awakening happening. There's definitely a shift happening. And because these people have been successful so long in what they're doing, they're probably having a hard time adjusting,
mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know, because it's worked for so long for them that
yeah.
that's all they know. And that's their reality that they've created. It's their
Mhm.
fault and they're losing the customers.
Exactly, it's their fault.
um, but I
Yeah.
really did not agree with showing people who have never created a course before to use a paid course platform. I thought that that really stood out to me as a red flag because if it's your first course, I think
It's
you should
unethical
exhaust
on so many
all free
levels.
options. Yeah, because you're
Hmm.
not having clients at first. There are course platforms that allow you to post your first course for free. That's where my breast massage course is. I'm not
Hmm.
paying for it to exist. They just take a
Yeah,
portion of every sale, but I'm not paying every month for it to be there.
yeah.
But before it was there, I just had it in a Facebook group first. I'm like, I'm
Exactly.
putting it in a Facebook group first until some people buy it, and then I'll see which platform I could put it on.
Exactly. And again, if you do have like constant payment, like paying people, that makes sense. But having a tool that like some of them like it's like 100 something a month,
Yeah,
and he's like, this is the way you have to do it, and like and some of them are very trendy, and like there is like kind of a trend of
like
like,
Kajabi.
if you are not having your course on this platform, it means that you poor, kind of like
Mm,
it's kind of the underlying things. So people's like, oh, I want to feel like I'm already arrived. It's kind of like the some of the self-help work is like, oh, you already create, like
yeah,
you're creating a reality, so you must think about who you're going to be. And I'm fully agreeing for in some level of like, yes, you do need to work towards what your vision,
yeah,
but don't put yourself in debt, don't put yourself in
yeah.
challenge, or actually go to work, find a work, and actually feeding another beast instead of feeling feeding yourself. Again, it's all about eating today, um and toilets. That were good.
Oh my God.
Anyway, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening, but yeah, it's that's the kind of the feel like the analogy to me is like, yes, you could, that's unethical, and that probably what you were saying about like what it's shifting the women and everything and trauma informed. I believe there
Mhm.
is a lot of ethical and like conscious come with ethical. There is a
Yes.
companies that call B Corp. It's a certification, and it's actually a certification for companies to, they have to follow a very very big rule book to follow ethical payment of the people they are working with, and so on and so forth, so many level. It is very very thorough thing, and it's very important, like it's coming up more. And even the way investment, I feel like is going to shift a little bit around towards that,
Ooh.
because giving money to SB 500 or whatever, I don't even know the name anymore, or I see what the other one, I can't, anyway, it
NASDAQ.
doesn't matter. Exactly, that's the one. There are a lot of people that are unethical, and you really want to give them some power with your money while
Yeah.
they're actually treating other people incorrectly,
Yeah.
and telling them some level of empowerment, because they're going to pay some people to get delivering workshop of like how to feel better in your body and get less sick in work. Yeah, to pay myself better, give me less hours before, instead of having workshops that feels better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is the ethical, I feel like it's rising a little, like way more
Yeah.
louder than it used to.
And it needs to, because like you
Mhm.
said, we're investing money in these businesses that don't support ethics. Like, for example, when I first learned about investing and opened like an account that has like with you're investing in like a mutual fund, I remember them sharing that like Coca-Cola was in there, and then like Coca-Cola is a great company to invest in because it's, always growing. And I remember being like, ew, I don't drink that, and I don't agree with what they're doing. Like they're taking water from our rivers and turning it into this sugar water that we should not be drinking. But
Yeah, yeah.
that's the problem, at least that I'm seeing here in America, is that like the money is in a lot of places that's damaging our earth. And not to get all hippie on everyone listening, even though I do love the earth and I very much am a hippie, I think there needs to be this realization of that we're not separate from earth. We came from this environment. Like, this is the mother that birthed us. And we need to make this shift to more ethical things because it's going to feed taking care of the environment that we were born in. And
Mhm.
I feel like now I'm totally changing the subject, but something that I wish people would stop saying is save the earth, because the earth is going to be fine. It's the humans that are going to
Yeah,
suffer.
the Earth
And
was there before us, and she'd be
yeah,
there after
yeah,
us for sure. Mm.
exactly. It's life that's going to pay the
Yeah,
consequences. And we're already seeing that with all these other animals that
yeah.
have been extinct. So,
But I do believe in some level it's still linked to empowerment, because it's still like the feeling of it needs more, it needs more, it needs more, it needs more. Like it's some level of that, like, trying to find answers outside of ourselves and everything, instead of like, what can I do at my level to
Mm-hmm.
alter something? And I feel like we were like, in again, we're going into a little bit of a tangent, but like what's happening currently, we're recording this in 2023, just to let me know, in early 2023, actually mid 2023, but anyway. But the thing is, like, in at least in the US, I'm not in the US, but what I've heard is like the price of eggs are gone crazy.
Mm.
A lot of food, like the real unprocessed food, has gone very expensive. And
Yeah.
most people that have a little bit of land trying to grow food and everything. And I feel like this is very like, and even like people trying to find ways to prevent erosions of the of erosions, by, instead of having a garden with rocks, they're going to put shamrocks or anything like that, to really create long, strong roots, so it actually the earth stays still, so we can be safe, in
Mm.
that level. But so many things, like even in South Asia, they are starting to grow vetiver even more into the coastlines, and not coastline, but not, it does not grow on sand, but onto a road, like place that have earth, dirt,
Mm-hmm.
because vetiver have very, very, very long roots that actually hold the earth and hold the water. So actually, instead of having erosion, it holds the earth, so it doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
less erosion. Again,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very big tangent, but it's all about, like, it's not saving the earth, it's saving the human environment, so we kind of keep living on, and we can give some, like, a future, a safe future for the next generation. That feels right
Mm-hmm.
to me. But again, very
Yeah.
very tangenty right now.
But it also goes along with the piece of like spiritual awakening, I think was what we said when we first started,
Yeah. Mhm.
because we're like knowing more of the truth and realizing like, oh, and it's such a hard balance because like some of the truths we might realize is like, oh, driving cars that have gas every day is not so great, but what's our other option beside, and then even like electric cars, and where the what was it that's in there, cobalt, where the cobalt comes from,
Mhm.
and how bad that is. It's just like when you look at all the options, it's like we should have just kept riding horses and never transitioned to whatever this is that we're doing. And this that we're doing, what's wild is that it can't go on forever.
Mm.
Like the Roman Empire fell, this can't go on forever.
Mm.
And it won't happen in our lifetime. Might not happen in our kids' lifetime or our but eventually
Hopefully,
like
it's going to be smoother transition than the Roman Empire, though,
yeah, right?
because that was quite vile. um, if you don't know about the Roman Empire, the Roman Empire actually collapsed on the third century after Christ. I don't know how you call it in English. It's like 300
AD, right?
AD. Yeah,
AD.
AD. I
Yeah.
believe it's after Jesus Christ. Um, after Christ, I
I
don't
wonder
get
what
the
the D stands for, AD.
exactly. That's my
After
thought of that.
death? After his death?
I don't know. That's
I think
odd.
after his death, like after he
Oh,
was
that's
crucified.
ugly. I'm
Yeah, that
sorry,
is
but
weird. That is
it's
weird.
so weird
I
if that's
agree.
this. But yeah, and that, with the crash of the Roman, that created the real Middle Age, the Dark Ages, they called in the storybooks. This is the Roman collapse. So like it was hundreds of years of Dark Ages, which was not that dark. Renaissance was way worse actually, but we didn't. We just polished it up. It was like, look, we had art, we had naked women. It's ready.
Look at the clothes we wore.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, yeah, it's a sign note, but it is going, it is, I feel like it's with the awakening of the population, and it's going to really shift, but it's going to shift differently, instead of forceful ways. It's going to be subtle, and it's going to be kind of like impregnating, let's put it this way, everything. So it's going to shift into ways that will, like, I could see it with, ooh, my God, are we going to be censored by COVID? I could see it with what happened with COVID in Ireland, at least.
Hmm.
They put by I can't remember the dates, but anyway, at some point we used to like people non-vaccinated, and we're talking, it's unfiltered anyway. Um, we well, like people were not vaccinated could not get to some places like clubs or restaurants or anything like, or even entertainment,
Hmm.
because they needed to prove they were vaccinated, which is very utterly wrong. And they had, one part of the government had to go through some research and everything, and it actually got ruled out as against humanity.
To force them to get
Yeah, to
vaccinated.
force that. That was I can't remember exactly the word or anything like that, but that's basically that was against the law.
Mm.
You cannot do this. And that was the first country to actually shared,
Oh, I
they
didn't know
shared
that.
something, and the next day it was like, by tomorrow this restriction is lifted because it's against
Hmm.
the law, it's against humanity, it's against the human rights. You
Hmm.
cannot like, you cannot segregate people due to their own health.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting, but I believe there were some conscious people that were like, instead of going against word, like, let's find their own ways to beat them.
Yeah, I have a family member who got a fake vaccination card. Um,
Gosh.
I think they found it online. I
Hmm.
got 2 vaccinations and then I never got the boosters because I was like, "Why did I do that?" And, yeah, I don't know. I see how they were trying to make it safe for people by having everyone vaccinated, but then I also see how that's like your medical freedoms, and so I do see both sides, and, it's such a tricky subject to talk
Like
about.
I again, like I was not vaccinated, and I'm going to go give a side note to that. I'm in Ireland. My family is not in Ireland, and like for the most part, I was actually isolating more than anything. I was pregnant as well during COVID,
Oh, yeah, I
so
would
that
not
was
get
very different.
vaccinated if I was
No, I
pregnant.
would not, like I would not get vaccinated while pregnant or
Yeah.
breastfeeding. That's definitely
Yeah.
off charts for me. But the other thing is, I didn't have family members that were at risk, so probably
Mm.
that would have maybe changed my choice, having maybe to have the opportunity to see my grandparents or something like that. The only thing is, I would have been my choice. The big challenge is in France, that was a obligation. That was something that you could not see family members if you were not vaccinated, if they were in home care centers, which is
Oh.
very feels not right to me, because that feels like I'm going to deny the access to your family members if you don't have that. So most people complied because they had family members in those homes.
Mhm.
And it's like, you cannot say to your dad, I cannot visit you because I don't want to get the vaccine. That feels
Yeah,
really
that's
wrong.
true, then you'd
So
have to get it. Yeah. Then
so
also
yeah,
that's like a vulnerable population, so that's also tricky.
it is. Oh yeah, like, they try the best. The only thing is,
Yeah.
it's not a vaccine to me. It's more a shot or something that
Yeah.
now is called, even in they renamed it in France. They could rename it 2023 flu.
Oh, weird.
So
I
yeah.
definitely did wait until I wanna say, like, end of 2021. Like, I waited a long time to get vaccinated because
Hmm.
I originally didn't want it, and then I was going to travel. Um, my husband was going on a work trip, and I wanted to go with him, and we were gonna be with a lot of people, so we were like, "Let's get vaccinated just in case." And I was so scared to do it because I'm a type of person, I don't get the flu shot. I don't take medicine when I'm sick. I don't even take a pill when I have a headache or if I have period pain. I don't do anything. I'm all about the natural stuff. That's how my mom raised me. And so when I got it, I have a friend who does like distance Reiki. I was like, "Can you please send me Reiki like while I'm here because I'm like so scared." And like as I was there, I just made sure I was like very present. and like, all right, my body's going to heal, and I was fine. My husband got very sick from
Mm.
both shots. And then the third time we set up the appointment, we went to the wrong place. Then we went to the wrong place again. And then when we were getting in the car, there was a bee on the doorknob, like on the door handle. My husband's
Hmm.
like, "Look, there's a bee here." And I'm like, "The bee is telling us, don't go, don't do it."
Don't get pinched or I
So
die.
then we didn't do it. Then we're like, "Nah, let's not get vaccinated again."
No, not this
So
time.
we're like, nah,
Yeah,
because there is definitely this level of like, how can we trust what the government is like? I don't know how it is in Ireland, but here it's like free to get vaccinated.
it is too.
It's free if
Yeah,
you have insurance, and it's free if you don't have insurance.
which is very odd for the US.
Yeah, which is odd for the US. And that's where my
Mm,
red flags go up. I'm like, what is
mm.
in this?
When someone doesn't have money and they get something for free in the US, just that's a
Yeah,
red flag for sure. I get it. Yeah,
yeah. So it's such a tricky subject. I'm not sure
it
which
is.
side I land on. Um, yeah,
I get both. I'm like,
yeah.
the only thing is just the choice of each other and just
Yeah, I think everyone should
respecting
be
each
able to
other.
make
Like,
their own choice. Exactly.
exactly.
And like
Mm.
there's so much fighting over like what people's choices
You're
are. And I
killing
think,
us because you're not vaccinated or like
yeah,
whatever.
and I think that's just like that again is what whoever controls everything is like trying to create, so that while we're fighting, they're off doing some like passing some laws so that Coca-Cola can take access of the river that's behind your house or something.
You mean Bill Gates? Oh my God, we just will be
Oh my gosh,
censored now.
this is now a conspiracy theory podcast.
Yeah, no, we
Uh,
won't get
I
there.
hope we didn't lose
But it,
people.
it, it is it's a fun joke. But yeah, again, it just rings some flags of like, that's interesting to just explore, not fully agreeing on everything, but just because if we do fully agree on conspiracy, the Earth is flat, don't fully not adhering to that theory personally. But again, if whom they ever wants to. I respect you for um but yeah, I just like we were talking about empowerment and we'd be probably definitely over time. So I'm like I think like we could maybe um we're going to meet you in the next episode right now. And is there anything you'd like to share on this episode for now, Celia?
I would say the summary of like what we've been talking about, including all of the tangents, is
Mm-hmm.
to make all of your decisions from a place of wholeness and just being very grounded and aware of the fact that you are in power, you are in control, and nobody else should be telling you what you should do. If you
Yeah,
don't agree with it, investigate it. And also at the same time, hold that same space for other people as well, because they're making their own decisions based on their own motives and their own power and their own life experience.
yeah. It's just meeting people where they are at in with non-judgment, listening to them and be okay to also disagree, but not fighting of like you need to hear me and this is the truth or something, because it's your truth probably, but it might not be for someone else's that have different life stories and everything. You can share your stories, but you don't can't you're not force feeding them again about eating, but but yeah, I love what you just like the encapsulation of this conversation, and we are going to meet you on to the next episode, and I'm looking forward to meet you then. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to Unfiltered Awareness. If you enjoy this episode and you want to support the podcast, you can do so by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. You can follow our podcast YouTube channel, which is linked below. You can also find us individually on Instagram. You can find Lucy at callme.lucy, and you can find Celia at selfexpressedbabe. Both of those are linked in the caption below. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you next time.